At 5 p.m. on a Friday, the lab building was buzzing with activity as everyone started to remove their lab gloves and shut down the computers still running data analysis. Today, the lab members gathered in the large conference room, not to discuss the latest experimental progress, but to watch the Olympic soccer match between France and the Netherlands. The table was piled high with pizza, beer, fresh red bell peppers, baby carrots, and potato chips, a typical Friday night snack spread. Dr. UFO, the lab boss, was usually sharp and focused, but today he was unusually relaxed. Holding a beer in one hand, he watched the TV screen intently, exclaiming, "Is that a foul? Wow, that fall must have hurt. Is he okay?" Aquarius, the postdoc, was lounging nearby with a slice of pizza in hand, still calm and composed. Known for his logical approach, he patiently explained, "That's not a foul since there wasn't any obvious physical contact. Just relax." "Go, go, go! Go get it!" shouted Blondie, his voice full of excitement. Blondie, originally from Spain, was a football fanatic with his golden hair casually draped over his shoulders. With his mouth full of pizza, he cheered in a muffled voice, "Yes! Score!" Matthew, watching everyone so engrossed in the game, couldn't help but smile affectionately. Munching on a red bell pepper, she casually chatted with Bambi. "This match is taking place in Germany." Bambi nodded, observing everyone's reactions as she asked, "Oh, it's in Germany? It's also 5 p.m. there, right? I've never been to Germany. Are there any cities or landmarks you'd recommend visiting?" As she spoke, she handed a slice of red sauce, ham, and cheese pizza to Matthew. "This pizza is amazing. You have to try it." Hedgehog, usually quiet, couldn't hold back this time. "Pass the ball. How can he kick like that? He should have passed it." Tech Guy, his head buried in his phone, casually retorted, "You talk like you've ever played soccer." The lab's technical genius, Tech Guy was known for solving all sorts of computer problems, but he was extremely picky about food. Assistant, I know, walked over and patted Tech Guy on the shoulder, smiling. "Don't be so picky. It's okay to eat something that's not exactly to your taste once in a while. Besides, the bell peppers and carrots are right there. It'd be a shame not to eat them." As the match reached its climax, the atmosphere became more intense. Dr. UFO suddenly slapped the table and boldly announced, "If the Netherlands wins, I'll treat everyone to burgers tomorrow." Bambi smiled and winked, quickly asking, "Dr. UFO, can they be Wagyu burgers?" Everyone burst out laughing, their laughter filled with camaraderie and friendship. Even with their heavy workload and complex experiments, this group of researchers knew how to find a moment of relaxation with pizza and beer. On a Friday night like this, they weren't just serious researchers in the lab, but also partners enjoying life together. Just as everyone was immersed in the excitement of the game, Tech Guy suddenly glanced at his phone, his expression turning strange. Guys, something weird is going on," he said hesitantly. "What's up?" Aquarius asked, his eyes still glued to the game. "I was just looking up some info, and I noticed something strange with my time." Tech Guy looked uneasy. "It's supposed to be 2024, but my phone says, 1974? The room suddenly fell silent, with everyone's gaze shifting to Tech Guy's phone. "Are you saying time traveled?" Matthew asked in shock, her eyes wide. Dr. UFO frowned, setting down his beer. "That's impossible. Did you download some new app that messed with your time settings?" Blondie suddenly yelled, "No way! What about the game?" But at that moment, the entire lab shook slightly, like a small earthquake had hit. the clock on the wall stopped ticking, and the lights began to flicker. Everyone felt a strange shift, as if the world had suddenly changed. What's going on? Assistant, I know, asked nervously. Just as Dr. UFO was about to respond, the conference room door swung open on its own. A breeze drifted in, and at the doorway stood a stranger dressed in a 1970s-style brown suit, wearing round glasses. "Hello, friends from the future," he said with a smile. "Welcome to 1974. We have some matters of the future to discuss, especially about the upcoming game and time travel." The lab members stared at each other in shock, temporarily abandoning their pizza and beer. This Friday night was about to become far more extraordinary than they had imagined. As the stranger's words hung in the air, the once lively room was now filled with an eerie silence, only broken by the distant echo of the game commentator's voice from the TV. The lab members exchanged bewildered glances, their minds racing to comprehend the surreal turn of events. Dr. UFO, always the one to lead in the face of uncertainty, stood up, eyes narrowing as he faced the man in the doorway. "Who are you, and what do you want with us?" he demanded, his voice steady despite the underlying tension. The stranger's smile widened, a glint of something unplaceable in his eyes. "All in good time, Doctor. But first, let me show you something." With a swift motion, he reached into his suit pocket and pulled out a small glowing device. The room was suddenly bathed in an otherworldly light, and before anyone could react, the walls around them seemed to ripple and dissolve, revealing a completely different scene. One filled with old computers, rotary phones, and people dressed in vintage clothes. "Welcome to 1974, the stranger repeated, this time with a hint of urgency. "Your research and the future are about to collide in ways you cannot yet imagine. And the outcome of this match? It's more important than you think." The lab members could hardly believe their eyes. They were no longer in their familiar conference room, but in what looked like a lab from the 1970s. The scent of old paper and machinery filled the air, mixing with the lingering aroma of pizza and beer from their disrupted evening. Blondie, still holding his half-eaten slice, muttered, "I didn't sign up for this." The stranger turned to face them fully, his expression now serious. "You're all about to embark on a journey through time that will test everything you know. About science, about history, and about yourselves. But you'll need to stick together, for the path ahead is full of mysteries and dangers." He paused, letting his words sink in, then added, almost as an afterthought, "And by the way, the stakes of that soccer game? They're far higher than you could ever imagine. Win or lose, it could change the course of history." As the gravity of the situation began to dawn on them, the lab members felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. They had no idea what lay ahead, but one thing was clear. Their Friday nights would never be the same again. And so, with their hearts pounding and their minds racing, they stepped forward, ready, or perhaps not, to face whatever challenges awaited them in this strange new timeline. What would they uncover in 1974? And how would they find their way back to their own time? The answers, it seemed, would only be revealed in the adventures to come.